A transformed Uganda from a peasant to a prosperous country within 30 years. So reads the vision statement of this country. The vision statement also states that there are a couple of issues that are stopping Uganda from getting where we want to be. One of them is a huge workforce of youth that is unemployed. And part of the reasons as to why the youth are unemployed is because the education system they're going through is not giving them skills. Since government knows the problem, what's being done to fix these problems of education and skilling youth in order to get jobs? This is Face the Citizens, and I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel. Welcome to the show. We're glad that you can join us for a discussion today. I'm very quickly going to introduce the panel that's here to have this discussion with us. We have the Honorable Opolot Jacobs Richard. He is Palisa County Member of Parliament, but in Parliament, he is the chairperson of the Education and Sports Committee. Honorable, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Also on the show, Dr. Abe Lillian. She's National Youth Council Chairperson. She's also a Senior Presidential Advisor on Youth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and thank you for hosting me.
And finally, the Honorable Agon Silas. He is Kumi Municipality Member of Parliament. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, and don't get away.
All right. Those that are watching us at home, we're glad that you can join us. We have here at the Wizards Auditorium an auditorium full of young people that are eager to hear what the duty bearers are doing about the education system and how the youth can benefit from it. But I would like to start from this point. Very recently, we did commemorate the National Youth Day, and this issue of education came up. Why is the education issue very important to young people?
Well, today you cannot discuss anything without prioritizing education, because gone are the days that you can easily wake up one morning and you make it in life without education. And the world has become so competitive that it's not even just education, but the quality of education has to be looked at. So, well, Uganda's done quite much on providing free education at the UPE level, USE. Then you have the government scholarships. Now the question comes in is that what is the quality? Are we producing the quality that the market out there is waiting for? Are we producing the youth who can come out and be innovative and stand on their own? Those are now the questions we have to ask about. But with education, you cannot differentiate, you cannot put aside education when you're discussing development, when you're discussing the young people and the future of the country.
But what's the view of the young people of the education system as it currently is?
Apparently, I must say that the young people are beginning to lose it on the relevance of education, because you find someone has got master's degree is on the street. Someone who has got a degree is on the street. Whoever has finished a diploma is also on the street. So the young people are even wondering now, why do I actually, those who have not managed to make it to a higher level of education, and they started something at a lower level, and at least have something that they can, get in life to make ends meet. They are laughing at the degree holders. They're like, Katiyu, you went and studied, you asking me airtime. There's even a song they sang, I think in Acholi, that the people went to the Makerere asking me for airtime. So it's really very, very sad that the government and the stakeholders must look into it.
All right.
That it's not about just offering education, but it is time that we look at restructuring the syllabus to meet what is out there. I don't need to sell my cows. I don't need to sell land and take my child to school. Then at the end of the day, I'm not seeing the return of investment, because that is purely an investment.
All right. Honorable Silas, is this the same issue on the ground in Kumi, for example?
Maybe it's even worse. Yeah, so the reality is that today is a very difficult day for the youth. I mean, this era, it is really very, very tough. Because I know of many around me who have degrees, who have masters, they have all the necessary qualifications. They are there seated with the mothers at home. It's even unfortunate that I have known that some have even gone to the extent of taking this sachet warrage out of frustration. You now cannot tell between a good cause and a bad cause nearly. Why am I saying so? Because even those who have done sciences, I have known of some who are still idle. They don't have what? Employment. And the situation is really so biting. I know of somebody who did medicine and took such a long time without getting a job. What they are doing now is this thing in the drug shops. And I think that is not really should be the case. Personally, if I'm to share my experience, I qualified as a CPA, a Certified Public Accountant of Uganda, as most of you might be. But I continued working in the villages in Ibokedia and Ikumi, even with that professional paper. What could be the issue? Much as you think that by the time you get this qualification, the jobs will be waiting for you, the situation is not the same. It has changed. Things are different. So I want to tell the youth out there, nearly 60% of the task now rely on you and the parents. And then 40% should be remaining with what? Government. Because I believe it be that the parents have a role to play in guiding you on what to do next. And then the government has a role to play. And then you have a role as a person that you ought to play for you to be somewhere. Your first degree or whatever is a basic qualification these days. Whatever you do now after that qualification is the real degree.
Whatever you do after that qualification, like what?
For instance, I have known of people who have had a bachelor's in procurement. You find people thinking about procurement. You are going to procure what? And you are procuring for who? Who is ready to give you their money and you go and shop for them? Who? Hey, that is the issue. Yes. It doesn't mean that the course is what? Bad. But the issue is the jobs have become so limited. Even me as a member of parliament, sometimes when I want to procure something for my constituency, I do it personally. It is the job that everybody wants to keep around them because they feel that people are not trusted. So things are not easy. But what do? If somebody can teach you how to paint a car, how to spray a car, how to service a car, please come out and remove those whatever clothes that you are proud of. First, get the skill. And I want to say one thing. The biggest challenge that we have is the issue of our attitude. Then the issue of networking. Sometimes people don't know how to manage even their public affairs, public relations. People not give you work if you are bad-mannered. There are also youth who feel that they know everything and they want to really boast. They are not humble. They can't relate well. How does somebody employ you if you are an employee?
All right.
Those are some of the issues. So, really, there's a lot, but God needs to help us.
I'm
ready to play my part. I'm ready to play my part.
An honorable member has petitioned God. Honorable Polot, you sit as the chairperson of the Education Committee.
Yes, sir.
You actually receive all these stakeholders and the people that plan for and run the education system in Uganda. For starters, what are the things that stand out as the challenges within there? Because at the end, we see that people get out and are not getting jobs.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I will appreciate the contributions of my colleagues. But I think one thing is that we have gotten so stuck to the colonial type of education, the way it was structured, and basically focusing more on white-collar jobs. And because we have been in it for too long, it has shaped our mindset. Everybody thinks, I must go to the university, I must do a degree, I must do a particular degree, not knowing that not everybody is meant to have a degree. That's the truth. If we all have degrees, then there are jobs that will never be done wherever you go. I'm not really trying to trivialize it, but there are jobs that require people who must have certain skills, with or without a degree. Actually, a degree is regarded at a point of supervision, but this hands-on must be done by technicians who should be able to practically fix many things. I want to believe even here, you are talking of microphones, setting them. I don't think it is the degree people who are setting those microphones. It's those people who have the hands-on technical skills, and it cannot work without them. So that's one challenge. But also, when you look at the management of higher education, for instance, I think there has been a mess, especially in universities, including public universities, where what was a course unit has been split, has been elevated to a full-fledged degree program, like when Honorable Silas says procurement. Procurement in some courses is just a course unit. But because people are sponsored by other interests to go do this master's, do the other PhD, you come, write a concept, you make the thing a fully-fledged degree program. But you cannot shape somebody on a narrow perspective. Somebody should be prepared from a broader perspective. Some of us studied in university when some programs were heavily loaded. But today you'll find such the course units that we have produced about 10 degree programs. And you cannot tell me that if you want a social worker, for instance, you can leave out other aspects and only focus on social work. Then the other thing is this issue of commercialization of education. People are not paying so much attention towards building the skills of the learners. People are focusing on churning out grades, which grades are not related to performance. You will agree with me, the best performing, the best grades do not necessarily mean the best performance in terms of service delivery. And I will also tell you that go out there and see the most successful professionals. They may not have scored the best grades, but they had the best kind of tuning, the best kind of training that has made them prosper in terms of the profession they are pursuing. So for the young people, I think it is important that don't just focus on a degree in this particular university. Focus on what kind of degree, so that by the time your parents or your relatives are selling this particular car or this particular piece of land or borrowing this money to pay your tuition, they are paying for a course that even if you took a bit of time without a job, when you get a job, you will not be laid off very shortly. You will last on the job and be able to serve.
All right. Yeah. One of the problems that we continuously hear is that even when a person goes through the university and leaves with a degree, a good degree, when you put them in the work environment, they don't know what to do. Is this something that comes to Parliament as well?
I don't know whether that would be a good degree. Maybe the person could have pursued what we call a good degree, but did not achieve much in terms of knowledge and skills or abilities.
Right.
You see, I have supervised interns, and you find someone cannot write a report. You have been sent to me as an intern, university, you actually maybe in your final year. I supervise you, give you all the support, but because the basic requirement after to prove you the internship is a report that must be endorsed by your supervisor. You look at a report and you can't believe it's from a university student who is completing to come and occupy your office. Why? Because people are no longer paying attention to training and building the capacity of the young people to perform. That's why I will tell you, when you go back to the skills or the BTVET sector, these people are doing quite well. I'll tell you, I sponsored about 5 people, but none of them is unemployed. They are doing their work. But some of the institutions have taken it as a way of making money. Someone is running all over the place from one university to another, from one institution to another, without focusing on the quality of the product that is supposed to churn out.
All right. It is time for us to take a break. When we come back from the break, we will continue the discussion. So stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. Thank you for staying with us here on Face the Citizens. I'm your host, Iguma Gabriel, and today we're having a discussion around youth and education. Is the education system actually giving the youth the skills they need in order to survive, especially in the circumstances that we're in, where the jobs are far too few for the number of people that are looking for those jobs? Having that discussion with us, the Honorable Agon Silas, he is Kumi Municipality MP. We also have the Honorable Opolot Jacob Richards, he is Palisa Member of Parliament, also Chairperson of the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, and Dr. Aber Lillian, National Youth Council Chairperson, also Senior Presidential Advisor on Youth. As you know, the National Youth Council, what demands have you made in order to make the situation better so that the young people, at least when they go through these institutions, can come out with a good chance of getting a job and actually performing when they get those jobs?
We have just celebrated International Youth Day of recent in Jinja District. And on my memorandum that I presented, one of the issues that I clearly highlighted was the need to revise the curriculum of the education of Uganda. We have been lamenting about that. We have written a petition to Parliament. Last week, we had a meeting with the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Speaker Rebecca Kadaga, following up on the issue of revising the curriculum to suit the job market, to suit the dynamism which is out there. I have to be trained to meet what is out there.
All right. Before you go to the second point, let's ask Honourable, as the chairperson, the issue of curriculum keeps coming up. What's being done to ensure that the curriculum is actually equipping people for the job market?
Actually, from what Dr. Aber has said, the issue is curriculum review. And as we stand now, there is a reviewed lower secondary curriculum, which should be able to capture the issues of skills, development, promotion of values, and also nurturing talent. But unfortunately, you will find that we seem not all to be moving in the same government, but we are not moving together. You will find, for instance, the Ministry of Education requires 145 billion to roll out that lower secondary curriculum. But the Minister of Finance could only provide a laughable 500 million.
All right. Honorable Silas, on the curriculum issue, do you feel like it's a priority to government?
Of course, it's a priority. And the government needs to work on that. And when something is a priority, you show that it's a priority by way of budgeting for it first. I can tell you one thing. Most often I've seen ministries, MDS actually come with the budgets to Parliament. And you find in their books they have put there unfunded priority. How can you call something unfunded?
A priority
unfunded,
and then unfunded.
A priority which is not what? Funded. And yet you are calling it a priority. Sincerely, as a country, we need to wake up. We need to wake up.
Okay.
And you know, that is what we really need to focus on. If something is a priority, then budget for it.
Okay. Honorable Abe, you were making other points.
Well, me, I'm very happy that the two people
MPs, yes. We will follow up on the commitment they seem to have to this issue.
They're the ones doing cutting of the cake are here, so we want to...
So you have more allies in Parliament
to appeal,
after talking to the Speaker.
At least I have the opportunity to appeal on camera to them that we have this pushed and is revised. The second issue I wanted to raise was the issue of the technical training, the skill-based training. You see, if you look at countries like China, countries like Japan, countries which have developed, not that everyone could afford to speak a foreign language, not that everyone was a doctor. You find the smartphones we use, the tabs we use, are being made by young kids of even 8 years, 15 years. But ours, even our engineers that we produce, we have to get engineers from out of the country work on our roads. The ones we produce are not meeting the standards. So I think we need to invest more on the technical training. I was happy that the president highlighted during his manifesto that we'd have technical schools at every sub-county. How I wish that the members of parliament prioritizes this and we fund establishment of technical schools. Let someone learn alongside the law degree that they have. Let them know how to make at least a table to earn a living. You don't need to employ me to be a doctor and I only stick to doctorate. I can still do some other business to bring money on table. So we even need to invest more funds in training people. The State House has got a program of training the girl child, skilling the girl child program. But I can tell you, not even, I think people in Kumi are not aware about that. There are few people have benefited about it.
Kumi does not
I know
the MPs say.
I know a few people from Kidgum has benefited from it. So such programs, if it could be enrolled across, we need to move from the idea of the white collar so-called professional training. I think we have very many professions. After all, even the doctors we train anyway fly out of the country to look for better employment. So we cannot be importing everything, hospital beds, this table we are sitting on. I know you procure at a very high cost. We have people who can make this in Katwe, but they lack the funding. I am involved in a program called the Youth Livelihood Program. The youth have got amazing skills. They have the energy, they want to work, they lack the funding. There's no clear financing channels. So if government can put in more money in focusing this, you will not have a problem. The country will shoot very high into middle income status if we look at small scale industrialization.
Okay, let's go to the young people that are in the audience. Any question or comment in relation to the discussion we're having? Yes, sir.
Mbabali Solomon is my name.
Yes, Solomon.
I'm so grateful that I'm today here with you at this session. I would like to comment on Honorable Okoloto's comment. Truly speaking, I am in line with him. I'm just reacting on his say about the education. We are changing with the time, but our education system is still following the historical background. You find that now, like me, I'm one economist actually finalizing, but I'm actually even worried. You find that when you are in class, they teach you inflation, doing what, yet generations are changing with the time. So that is the major problem that has left us, the youth, behind.
All right. Thank you for your comment, Solomon. Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm by the name of Onen Chan Isaac.
Yes, Onen Chan.
Yes, a first-year student of Makerere University.
What course are you doing?
I'm doing education.
Education. What subjects?
Economic and geography.
Ah, okay.
I want to ask Mr. Opolot, Honorable Opolot. Now that it is true that you have said most of the youths in Uganda, they are unemployed. Right, maybe I'm sorry to say this, because the education system does not favor us. More so when we go to the curriculum, you get it. Like if we are to compare ourselves with those, let me give example, Ronaldo and Messi. Those are the people who have identified their talent when they were at their teenage age. They started earning income when they were around 16 there. Not at the age of Uganda. Like for us here, most of us, the youth, we don't know what we are going to do. We have not identified ourselves. Now, if that one can maybe affect most of the Ugandan, why don't you get any other sectors or any other skills, like to maybe you can identify someone when he's still joining secondary level to be trained more on that very particular activities. Like we can say football. There are very many people they are footballers, but you force them to go for chemistry, biology in O level, which is even not something serious.
You want a D1 from them even if they're a footballer.
I'm by the name Monya Venda, a student of Makerere. The reason as to why most of our youths are not employed, it's that they want to be job seekers but not creators. someone finishes his or her degree and wants to sit in the office, but not work on the streets or do any other business. And another thing, another cause of unemployment is tribalism. You find someone wants to employ only his or her tribe when she's the boss or he's the boss. So how will the rest of the tribes get employed?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much. I'm Ochi Hilary,
Yes, Hilary.
a student at Makerere University, a student of law. I want to make a comment on the curriculum of Uganda. You find that we are in a situation where we are inducted into this education system at a very young age. Throughout our primary and secondary, we have subjects imposed on us. Teachers everywhere teach us just to pass exams, but do not give us any relevant skills. For 16 years, we are in this system. And by the time we come out of it, we are educated but unskilled. And you find that after we come out of it, we are expected to be actually productive. Yet we have not been given any skills, and during the time when we are supposed to be learning, we haven't been taught, and we're expected to be productive. And this poses a challenge, because we cannot even apply the knowledge we learn in that system in real life. So I believe that unless this education system, the curriculum, is overhauled and a new one introduced, the status quo shall remain. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments.
I'm Albright Abe from Chambogo University, doing business admin. I think we may all focus on the education over the curriculum and the rest of the thing. But I also have one major challenge we have to impose on the parents. Though you may also seek to change the curriculum, we also have to sensitize the parents. Because at times the parents, once a child is joining, let me say A level, they'll force a child to do a particular combination. Suppose they force you to do science, yet you're really not interested in that particular combination. You may struggle to finish that combination. You go to university, you do your medicine very well, but then at the end, you know, job with interest. When you really don't have the interest, you may end up finishing but not working. So I also want you, even if you do so, also try to sensitize the parents so that they make their kids do what they like. Because when you're doing a thing which you like, most cases, I feel those people can be very successful in life.
All right. We didn't catch your name. If we just repeat your name.
I'm Albright Abe.
Bright Abe.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for those comments. We're going to go for a break right now. When we come back from the break, we will start with the panel responding to the questions you have asked. Stay tuned. The discussion continues after the break. Welcome back from the break. Thank you for staying with us until this last segment of Face the Citizens today. Today we're looking at the education system and what that means for the young people. In the previous two segments, we've actually had experiences and the fact that people are going through the education system, but they're coming out on the other end without the relevant skills to actually earn them a living. Before we went for the break, a couple of questions were asked by the young people in the Wizards Auditorium. And now we're going to ask the panel to respond to those questions. Let's start with Honorable Silas.
Somebody talked about the issue of tribalism. That one, nobody can sweep it under the carpet. It is true. Those things are happening. And I really want as Parliament to warn those who are perpetuating such acts. Because the brilliant people who have the skill, who have the knowledge, who have qualified well, are kept off the road. And those who have come with a certain manner of coming are the ones who get the jobs. I think that one is not proper. And we must, as a Parliament of Uganda, continue fighting against corruption. There's a committee, a whole committee, handling this issue of equal opportunities. And we also have the commission, which is also in our country. We must concentrate on making sure that whatever we do, the boat must always be what? Balanced. Two, the issue of the parents. I think you are spot on. Somebody talked about the parents giving guidance. Sometimes we want to drag our students to where they are not supposed to be. And yet really, internally in them, they know what they can do best. There are people, even when you give them to cook, they cannot cook good food without singing a song. You will know this one is a musician. Right? Yeah, and they can make it very well when you give them. So let us follow what people have in their feeling, and you will see the difference. You will see the difference.
All right.
Personally, I feel that there are so many talents around me that I failed to discover because my parents did help me to discover them early. But I guess I can be a very good musician. I could have been a very good footballer. Probably if they had discovered that talent early, I would have been another Ronaldo made from gold. Yes. So that one I can tell you, and it is true. And I encourage the person who was talking about practical work. This thing of theory. Until when? Theory should be maybe for those who are going to preach, because you must understand the Bible properly. Yes. You must understand the Bible properly. Then you go out. When you pour out the word, let it be real theory.
All right.
Because I can tell you before you cut me off, it is very, very possible. People can preach, but when you ask them to do the same that they are preaching, they cannot do it. So let it be for those who are. I think that is what, yes.
Honorable, I was going to offer another talent you have, but I'm not going to say it. Let us.
Of course, I would say it is a comedian as well.
Okay.
Now you see.
I'll not hesitate to say
Yes,
that.
please.
And I didn't know he liked food which is prepared while people are singing. Well, I think, first of all, I must appreciate that the youth really have got solutions to the issues. And the more we give them opportunity to talk about it, the more we shall get the right prescription. Because any doctor must interface with the patient to know what the problem is. I'll not go into the issues he talked about, but allow me mention the issue of the parents forcing people to take what they are not supposed to do. I know of a student who did a medical course, came back on graduation day and said, "Mommy and Daddy, this is your degree that you sent me to get for you. I'm now going to do mine. I don't want to be a doctor." So I think it's very key that parents should allow the students to do what they want to do. But most importantly, when we are discussing education, there are stakeholders that must all do their responsibilities. For example, the parent must provide the basic needs for the child. So please, when someone has put in the efforts to make sure that you study, go and study.
All right.
Don't spend time in the clubs. If you're going to club because you're a young person, spare time to read and mean business, do your part. On the side of the government, they must provide adequate policies that can produce a well-ready citizen for the job market. Among them are the issues we discussed of revising the curriculum.
All right. Honorable.
First of all, I want to comment a little but differently on what Dr. Bear has said. I'm one person who really believes so much that much as the private schools are everywhere and have done a lot, the public schools are doing so much. And we should only strengthen both the public and private. But now when you come to issues of perception of what we are learning, I would also want to counsel the youth that knowledge and skills are based on theory. There is a time and stage of theory because you cannot understand something without getting the theory about it. It will only be a problem if you are engaged and passed out only on theory without the skills. For you to know a machine, you must understand the theory surrounding that machine before you can get practically into understanding the machine, the parts, and how they work. Let's appreciate the theory also.
Excellent. The lady at the back has a question.
My name is Alessi Majorin. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Alessi. Yes.
Yes, I'm a lawyer and an advocate of the High Court. Mine is not really a question, but a solution. What is discouraging very many youth from taking skilled jobs, other than jobs, white-collar jobs, is that also the pay is not attractive. So someone may actually be interested, an example maybe to be like an artist, which actually is a talent, is something he's passionate about, and they even want to take it on as a life career, but they will be discouraged about the pay.
All right.
So those are some of the things that we have to address if we want to change the way how the youth prefer white-collar jobs to skilled jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Quinto Dodge, and I'm a third-year student doing an engineering course at Makerere University. Mine is also going to be just a solution to the youth. There is a saying that if you know that things are not going to change, then you need to change. It's like when you know that you're going to be doing theories in class, you need to change your approach, and maybe in your free time, you be doing practical things. If you do software engineering and they're teaching you theories, today in the world, we have very many learning platforms. You can go to Google, you can go to very many softwares, online learning platforms, you can watch tutorials, and you're able to watch and know how to develop these softwares on yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Dodge.
Thank you so much. I'm called Opio Bryanson Moses, a student at Chambuko University doing bachelor degree in procurement and logistic management.
Someone talked about procurement. Yes, please.
Really, I'm so glad for this opportunity. Just to go straight to the point, I have a question to Mr. Opolot. You talked about low level of training and capacity development of scholars in the university. Now, since you have observed that, what have you done, or what has the parliament done?
Okay.
And then, in Uganda, we all believe that people are very good at speaking nice things, good things, but then actions.
Okay.
This is what we lack in our country. There's low level of implementation plus supervision.
Let's respond, and it will be your concluding remark as well. We'll start with Honorable Opolot.
Yeah, thank you. I really didn't say that there is low level of training and capacity building. I talked about the segmentation of programs where each individual who goes for higher or postgraduate training comes with ideas and removes his part, his unit, to develop it into a program. And this has brought in, has diluted some programs to the extent that it's very difficult to market certain products. But the truth also is that when we talk of more speaking and action, it is for all of us. And unfortunately, sometimes we seem to be listening to others more than we listen to ourselves, and we think they are the ones speaking more and acting less. But what to me is important, which I have emphasized ever since I got the Committee on Education and Sports, I have emphasized restructuring of university programs. I started it for Makerere. I started it with Professor Varia. I followed it up with Professor Dumba, which he did amidst a lot of resistance. But we had, as a committee and leadership, I supported him, and I will still continue because I'm still following. And for the time I'm still in the committee, I'm going to do my part. So I'm not going to speak more. I'm going to act more because that's what matters. But Mr. Dodge, who said that if you know that things cannot change, you change things, but you can't change alone. And when you change alone, you can't change with everybody. So it's also good that as you change, amid the things you are not changing, you also try to influence others to change, so that we see a bigger change. For the margarine, you said these skills jobs are low paying. I seem to disagree. By there, these people earn a lot. The technicians, they earn a lot, more than degree holders. You take your TV for repair and see how much you take your phone for repair. Even when something costs 20,000, you will part with 200,000. And have you ever found an empty workshop? It's loaded. Where do you buy your beds from? It's from carpentry workshops. And they will sell to you at a very beautiful price. So the only issue is maybe sometimes some of them are not honest, and they can have no job for quite some time, but technicians are better paid. And as I wind up, I want to tell you that go to a country like China, which Dr. Bear talked about. First of all, out of all those who go to technical institutions, it is said only about 2% don't get what? Don't take up those jobs. And sometimes it is because they are from families that have companies and they have taken up the supervision of family businesses, but the rest get jobs. Then again, the number of people who opt for university education has reduced significantly because there is more employment the other end in the hands-on areas.
All right. Dr. Bear.
Well, for me, to wrap it up on discussion of education, I want to zero it down to the issue of empowering the entire community to be in position to afford, to provide and facilitate quality education. Because if I am not poor, that I cannot afford to provide food, good shelter for my children, then definitely I can't even discuss education.
All right.
So we need to look at empowering the community. I'm happy that the president has gone on discussing wealth creation and talking to people about how to make money and engage in productive activities. So I think we need to provide funding to support people to come up with what they can do, and they are funded. Funding mechanisms like the Youth Livelihood Program, the OWC, the Women Fund. We need to put in more money and empower many families, because it all begins from a family. Then we can start discussing the issues. Because the issues of curriculum, yes, the government is mandated to provide the policies and all this set of things. But still, if we can't have a population that can afford to pay for these services, then it might be difficult. But also discussing about motivation of teachers, both at the lower level and the university levels. We need to motivate them so they can love what they're doing. It's not about going into education because I can't afford to pay for another job. But I'm going in there because I love what I'm doing and I want to offer services to the community. And finally, our attitude as young people. The future holds a lot for us. It's about what you do for yourself that will earn you something in future. No one is going to come and move you out of the bed and reward you with the best gift. But the amount of time you invest every day in planning, have a to-do list, do something that adds value to yourself. Learn. You don't need even to maybe go and take a degree course in learning a skill. But there's someone stated it there. There's environment to learn. There is social media. There is, you can Google some of these things. You can also go and visit any of the workshops. No one will chase you to learn a skill. So just invest in yourself and the future will hold it for you.
All right. Honorable Silas?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to thank all the youth who are around and those who are watching. I think most of the things are about you before you talk about any other person. Before you complain about government, first complain about yourself. Before you complain about me, first complain about you. And think twice where you are. Yes, because everything starts nearly with you, and then we grow on. As a parliament, for me as a legislator, I love my job. And I don't want to increase on its theory. I want to work more on it, practice. Now, practical. We are talking about what? Practicals. One, we are looking at the local content bill, which we should, as a parliament, fast track to make it into a law.
Okay, we're out of time, so if you could just go through them very quickly.
Yes, local content bill, so that we ring fence some of these jobs for the youth.
Okay.
When they finish the education, they are assured of something. We're also working on the graduate scheme. That bill will help us. When you finish with the university education, academics, you come for practical. It is worse with accountants. You finish with the university, they tell you prepare statements of accounts, you are stuck. You need somebody who has been in practice, somebody who knows. Otherwise, your thing will never balance.
Okay.
And you will not sleep.
We'll just take one more, yes.
Ring fencing money for youth to do what they want to do. For instance, in UDB, Uganda Development Bank, there's money there for projects. but it should be ring-fenced also. A portion should be for the youth, not touched by anybody, but for the youth.
Thank you very much for being part of the show today. I would like to thank our guest, Honorable Algon Silas, Kumi Municipality MP, Dr. Aber Lillian, National Youth Council Chairperson, and the Honorable Polot Jacob Palisa MP and Chairperson of the Education Committee of Parliament. Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you very much, the young people, for being part of this discussion, and you who watched us at home by television. You have had the way forward. Go out and do something. Become better, give yourself a skill, and you will succeed. Until next time, good night, God bless you.